5 years is a long, long time. This is my MGB that I've been working on for 5 years. This is my 1974 MGB GT. Before that, it had been over 20 years since it ran. Actually, the last year that it ran was the year my wife was born, and I've changed everything. Now, to put 5 years into perspective, this is what my son looked like 5 years ago on this channel. It's my oldest son.
What color is it? Wow! What is that color called? What is this color called? Gold.
Yeah, it's gold.
It has to be orange like the car.
Well, the car's not going to stay orange.
What color is it going to turn?
I can't tell you, it's a secret. I'll tell you when I turn the camera off.
Gold too.
Nope.
Yellow.
Nope.
Orange.
I can't tell you, the camera's got to be off. I don't want anybody to hear.
Okay, turn it off.
And then this is my middle child.
Just a minute ago.
Oh. A cereal.
1, 2.
3, 4. And again, not the this is return a Reggie mode. This is return a Reggie mode. This is return a Reggie mode.
No, the race car's not working anymore.
This is yellow. This is yellow.
It's kind of orange.
No, not us. It's yellow.
I'm a little bit bummed, dude.
It
5 years for kids is like an eternity. I've had a whole nother child since then, and we've been building this car the whole time. It's not just this car that I've built. I've probably built about a dozen more, but this is the one that took the most effort and was the most difficult, because starting this car, I had never really done anything other than paint and body work. And on this car, I swapped the engine out to a 5-liter Ford engine. I swapped the transmission out. I had a drive shaft built for it. I built the suspension, I built the steering, I built the cooling system, I built the roll cage. We built the body kit out of like a Porsche 911 style body kit. Built a whole new thing, a whole new wing. Built an exhaust kit, never welded, TIG welded before, and built that. Actually, when we started this car, I'd never welded before. I built the wheels as well. They're custom 4-lug, 13-inch wide wheels in the back, and then like 8-inch wide in the front. And back when I started this car, I really had no idea of how deep of a hole I was digging for myself and how long it would take me to get out of that hole. But here we are today. We're gonna take this car that I've built every single part of and drive it. What could go wrong? Now, there's a few more things I have to install on this car before we can take it to the track, and there's a whole other mess of problems that we have to solve before we get there as well. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, 70mi, who sent us a dash cam and, more importantly, their battery system that will allow us to protect this car while I drive it on the road. More on that later. Now, the first thing I've been finishing up off camera, you'll know it's been a while since I've posted, is my exhaust system. I've never TIG welded before, and I kind of scrapped together this exhaust system in the last video, but I had to go through and finish weld and install V-band clamps and everything else to get this thing actually ready to drive. The ground clearance is abysmal. I mean, we might have 2 inches of ground clearance at the dead center of the car, which is the worst place to have very little ground clearance. Maybe that's foreshadowing. But aside from that, the exhaust looks incredible. It comes up through the floor into the back of the car and does like a double X and then exits out of the taillights. It's awesome. Way cooler than I could have ever expected. I just hope that it works. Now, I do have a tendency to make things much less practical and much more complicated for the sake of coolness, and this car is a testament to that fact. My back seat has been replaced with extremely hot exhaust pipes, a fuel cell, and my entire cooling system. And in an effort to not get burned by 200-degree water or fire or exhaust pipes, I'm going to build a firewall. Now, I tried to do this out of one piece off camera, and it just couldn't get it to work. And so I ended up building this 4-piece firewall system that bolts in to the roll cage itself. And I think it's going to work pretty well. All it is sheet metal that's cut out to the shape of the firewall, and then some gasket material around the outside just to help seal off the air and anything else that's back behind me. And behind it, I have some Be Quiet heat shielding. I've used Be Quiet in videos in the past, but it's just heat shielding I had left over from an old project, and that's gonna just kind of keep the exhaust heat and the radiator heat and all the other heat that's trying to get in the cab kind of on the other side. That's the goal. I want this to be drivable, and there's gonna be a lot of heat back behind me, so I'm hoping I can kind of keep the heat out the back of the car and keep the cabin somewhat comfortable to drive. Now, one of the big issues with these cars when you lower them is bump steer. And bump steer is when your tie rods go up at an angle while you're basically sitting still. And when you hit a bump, it'll steer the wheel one way or the other. And so the way you fix it is to level the tie rods out. Well, I've lowered this car, I don't know how much, a lot, like all the lowering. And so we've got a couple inches of ground clearance from the subframe to the ground. And because of that, my tie rods are at a horrible angle. And it took me a little while to figure out, but I've got adjustable tie rod, Heim joint tie rods in now that I built in a previous video, and everything is flat and good. So I think it's actually gonna steer pretty well given all of the modification that has happened to the suspension on this car. We'll just have to see when we get to the track. Now, the last thing I really need for this car is seats, and I've had these seats forever. I mean, I think I bought them like year 2 of the build from another person who had an MG, and so I know they fit, which is great. We just gotta put them in, and I'm just gonna sit them in there for today. Now, I know danger, whatever, no seat belts, it's fine. We're going to a closed course. I just need something to sit in so I can drive this thing around and see if any of this stuff actually works. We've changed everything. So the seats are just gonna get sat in there. I'm so stoked. I was able to rewire the whole car, also off camera, and that means that I can have a passenger seat now. I wasn't gonna have one, and now I'm gonna be able to have one. You've gotta be a short passenger, but I can get a passenger in the car with me. That'll make it a lot more fun for videos and things like that as we go on in the future using this car. Now, unfortunately, this entire video I had camera issues, and you'll see that later on, but I mentioned I had a whole mess of problems to figure out. One of them is loading the car. Getting the car up on a trailer with the exhaust being as low as it is, with the car being as low as it is. Every time I put this car on or off a trailer, I've broken something. And so loading it up was a little bit stressful. But it went up without a hitch, literally, no hitch, nothing touched, nothing had any issues. The exhaust cleared completely, and I really couldn't believe it, but that was just the first problem. The next problem was getting up a terrible, terrible gravel driveway that sits outside of my shop. It's real soft, it's real steep, and cars can't make it up it, just genuinely. I've had to tow 3 cars out of it, and 2-wheel drive trucks can't make it up it. And I sold my 4-wheel drive truck, and so I ended up having to go buy a 4-wheel drive truck, not just for this job, but kind of just for this job, to pull this car up and out of the garage. Now, I did video this, but I've had camera problems this entire video. I don't know what's going on, and so the camera discarded the footage. Just know we made it. Now, I've been wanting to, I don't have water in my shop, and I've been wanting to wash this car for years, you know, and so it was so good just to get it out in the sun and wash it. The paint still looks really good. Having this car out and clean and running is just one big step out of Project Purgatory and into functional car. And I'm so excited. We're so close. We're almost to a functional vehicle. Okay, that is a huge, huge problem out of the way. Getting this car on the trailer up the gravel driveway has been on my nightmare list since I sold the Titan. Now, I do have this beautiful golden beauty right over here that yanked this thing all the way up the hill, and we'll talk about that in a later video. Now, I can drive this car. I can drive it on the street. Where I live, this is completely street legal, and I can get it registered. I know. America. And so I will do that, and it will be great. But there is one problem with driving something that you've poured 5 years of your life into, and that is that, well, only a few other people on the road are in cars that they've spent so much time and money in. And so I really want to make sure this thing is protected, especially when I park it and leave it in a parking lot and have to go into a store or do whatever else or leave it at a car show. I just want to make sure that the investment, if you want to call it an investment, is covered. And so that's why for the last step of this process, we're going to be installing a dash cam, but not just any dash cam. 70mi sent us their T800 dash cam, but most importantly, they sent us this battery pack. And what this does is it allows us to keep surveillance on the car at all times, even when it's not running. So if a shark tries to break into your car in the middle of the night to take it for a test drive, you'll have footage of it. And this battery actually allowed me to get footage of the trip from my house to the track because it noticed the car was in motion and filmed while the car was being towed to keep record of it. 70mi battery will allow me to monitor the 3-camera channel with HDR recording for the front, cabin, and rear of the car in 4K while it's parked for up to 14 hours. The battery pack comes with multiple ways to wire and ensures a wide capability with various vehicle types. You can simply plug it into the cigarette lighter or hardwire it into the car. It charges up to 30% faster when hardwired, and since I'm wiring every other part of this car, I'm just going to wire it into the same fuse panel that has everything else. It also has a built-in BMS, smart current control, and delayed charging, offering full protection from things like overheating, overvoltage, deep discharge, and short circuit. Like I said earlier, this battery/camera combo will protect my car, and I'm for that. But another reason I said yes to this partnership is because I think the in-car footage from them will be pretty rad. All right, so with the car loaded on the trailer, we've got to head to one of my favorite places on earth. A couple of years ago, me and some buddies started an event called Grip Autocross, and it's an autocross event we do every single month. We've started traveling a little bit with it, and it is just one of my favorite things that I've ever been a part of. And so when it came to testing this, there was only one place to go, and that is the Sandlot. The Sandlot is a parking lot that we got to when we started doing autocross, and it was awful, just covered in dust and dirt and broken asphalt. But we used it because it was ours, and as we've continued this event, we ended up getting it paved with the racetrack grade asphalt, opening up a big section for spectators and a big section for the pits and everything else, and it's been really, really cool. Along with the autocross event, the Sandlot is for rent. So we have this page on Facebook called the Sandlot Gadsden, and that's where you go to like rent it out if you want to do something like what I'm doing today. And I've got to test this car, and in the past I've always had to test them on the street, which is terrifying. I've built every single part, something is going to fall off. And so having this lot to go and just be able to drive and not have to worry about other cars or anything really is just awesome. I can just focus on the car. My son likes it too because it gives him a place to drift his go-kart very recklessly and not have to worry about cars on the street or anything else that could be dangerous. Now, loading this car was very easy. We literally just winched it up on the trailer, no issues, no snags, no problems. So loading it off was gonna be easy too. Wrong, loading it off was a nightmare. It turns out the exhaust likes going up on the trailer, but does not like coming off, and it kept getting caught on the dovetail of the trailer. Now this resulted in the V-band kind of ripping apart, and I'm gonna have to fix that later, but ultimately we did find a solution, and that was to jack the front of the car up on a rolling jack and let it roll past the dovetail so that the rest of the car could slide down. Shout out to my dad for figuring that out because I was pretty devastated. But now the car's off the trailer, so it's time to drive, right? Also wrong. All right. Huh? Oh, it's another thing I forgot. Well, it's off the trailer. It looks cool. As you can tell by those lines, somebody forgot to do an alignment on the front end. So both wheels are pointing out right now. I don't have any of the tools that I need. You can tell it's my first time shaking down a car that I built from scratch. Brakes don't work, alignment's out. I'm very frustrated, very frustrated. I'm running out of time, running out of daylight. So that's where we're at right now. I'm gonna see if I can find some tools to at least get an alignment. I don't really need the brakes to work to drive it around. I know that sounds crazy, but the e-brake works sort of. So try to get these things lined up maybe, and then we can drive it. Real frustration here. All right, I took as much out as I could. This one's still pointing out while that one's straight. Mustang stuff. But they're still towed out. I'm out of adjustment on this side, and this side, the inner tie rod's rusted and I can't adjust it anymore. So we could get them straight, but I run into old part issues. I'm gonna try to drive it though. I'm just gonna move it first, okay, and then we'll see how bad it feels. plastic that's broken. God, dog. I built every single piece of this car and I was certain it was gonna fall apart, but it actually drives really good. I mean, aside from not having any brakes at all in the test drive, which I think is easily fixable, it works. It actually works. I can't believe that it works. There's so much that could have gone wrong that didn't. There are only a few things that did, and it's all problems that are easily rectifiable, and I will rectify them before the next autocross event. So if you want to see this car, it is going to be at the next Grip Autocross event on the 27th of September. I think that's right. Grip Autocross on Facebook. You can check that out. I would love to meet you. If you want to come hang out with me, you can come hang out in the pits. You can check the car out. You can see it run. I might do rides depending on how safe I feel like it is. But come hang out. It's a great time. It's always fun, and it happens every single month. But the 27th of September, I will be there with this car. You should come too. And I'm gonna be able to actually drive this car hard, and that is just awesome, and it wouldn't have been possible without 70 Mi. So support companies that support Built. I'm gonna leave links to the 70 Mi gear that I'm using here. I've been super happy with this camera setup. It's awesome for safety and for just peace of mind when my car is parked, but also like a bonus is I get really solid in-car footage, and so when I'm racing and doing other things, I don't have to set cameras up and move them around. I'll have 3 angles that I can pull from to film racing or film driving on the street or whatever it is I'm filming at the time. So it's kind of like a win-win for me, and it could be for you too. I'm leaving a link below with 5% off of this setup that I'm using in this video, so you can protect your car and record your driving no matter how old or custom your car is. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. We'll see you in the next one.